Like it's a different it is a different market now. It's changed. Even though I'm only 8-9 years old, and some of these people asking me stuff, it has changed a lot in the past few years.
Hi guys, and welcome to Bankhouse Media Podcast. Today's guest is one of Ireland's top photographers, Evan Doherty.
How's it going, Matthew? How are you?
Evan, thanks for coming on.
No problem at all. No problem.
So Evan, we have went way back, as we just had a laugh there about something that happened to us years ago. But for the people who don't know who you are, do you want to just give us a bit of an insight into who you are and what you
Yeah, well, I'm a photographer from Dublin. I'm probably in the business now about, I don't even know, about 8 years now, would it be? When would I met you? About
well, you've
seven,
been in the
well, I've had a studio about 8 years now. Anyway, 7 years coming up in February now. I'm in the studio, so that's when I really started.
If we go back further than that, then right? Okay, so if we just start from the start. So whenever you were leaving school, did you always want to get into photography, or what?
No, I to be honest with you, when I left school, finished in, I went to Nessens there in Baldoyle, and I didn't know what I was going to do when I finished school. I was always into art. I was into photography, I was into kind of graffiti and stuff, but I didn't know what I was going to do. I left actually and I went to Pulse Recording College. I thought I was going to be like Dr. Dre, so I was like, done sound engineering for a year, did a bit of work at a few gigs, and the point, I hated that then. My brother was in the college year before me, so he was a lot more into it than I was, so I kind of knew, when you do something, sure, I don't want to do this.
I actually done that, but then I done it for like 10 years.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it took me a while to figure out. It took me a while to get the balls to move out of it. But
I just wasn't into it. I didn't know what I really wanted to do. So then I went to work for Irish Ferries. Then my friend Adam's dad got me a job in Irish Ferries. So I worked there for 3 years as I was cooking on the boats for staff and passengers for 3 years.
Bit of crack?
That was just a bit of crack. So I didn't come into this game till my 20s, till I was 23. I went, and it was my friend's mum actually was like, oh, here, look, we're doing PLC courses in a place called Marino College in Fairview. I was just like, oh, here, this will be a bit of a laugh. I'll just do it because I'm into photography. I didn't even have, I didn't have an SLR camera or anything. I think I just had just a snappy, digital camera. Just, one of those little ones that everybody used to have, the little wallet, them small little cameras. So
like a Canon or something, like one of those. I took one of those travelling with me, like those slim
little things.
Sort of things, the lens comes out.
Yeah, I had one of them, and then I had a film camera as well, which I didn't know how to use. I didn't have a clue to use the film camera really, because what I used to shoot on was just a 35mm film camera, but there was no settings on it. It was just like an auto camera, a little small thing that my mum bought me when I was 13 or 14. So I always shot, I was always taking photos. I was always the person with the camera. But
you didn't know back then?
Yeah, it was like a disposable camera, this thing.
Yeah.
I was buying film for it, and every week, every time you get film developed, you'd, get a free roll of film for it.
So even back as, say, 14, for example, you had the camera, you were sort of playing around with it, and you didn't really realise, but you didn't think now you'd end up with a full career?
No, I didn't, because I was actually shooting stuff. I was mad into spray painting, graffiti, Dublin graffiti. Because we were on the dart line, my mum's house behind the dart, so we used to love going out and spray painting, and used to tag and all this kind of stuff when we were younger. So it kind of started out, and I used to see other people's graffiti, and I'd be like, oh, I'd love to do something like that. So I had a camera, and I'd take a photo of it, get them developed, and then I started up, I had loads and loads of different graffiti artists around Dublin, and I was a bit of a tech head. My next one neighbour had a computer, PC. We didn't even have one at the time, so he was teaching me how to make websites, his dad, so I started, I got a scanner. I think my dad bought his computer, I made a graffiti, photography website with just graffiti artist stuff on. I used to scan the photo in and then
what do you really think at that point?
14 then. So it was techie, yeah. So I used to use there was Photoshop was on it. I think it was called Macromedia Photoshop at the time. So this would have been 1998.
So your first instincts were to probably, were you doing to start a business? Were you doing to get exposure?
It was just an interest in art. I think at the time I was mad into drawing. I loved drawing people. I used to draw Bob Marley and Tupac and all these kind of people. But I used to draw them in school. I used to sell the drawings. Used to photocopy the drawings and sell them. Ones of Bob Marley with a joint hanging out of his mouth or something. But people used to buy them, in school. So it was kind of always into. I was always into people and portraits. I was always from really, really young age. I used to love drawing people. Brilliant. So that's kind of where it,
And you were sort of like pairing the two, so you're not only where loads of people are into drawing, but you don't take them and sell them, So that's actually like your business.
It is a business thing. And you know what? Even back then, I was making websites, and I actually started selling videos, Podge and Raj videos on a website. I used to be manned to Podge and Raj for some reason when I was that age, and used to sell like Podge and Raj videos. Used to buy them for like, I think 2 of them for £10 and sell them for like £15, like to the States. So people were sending me checks, and I was sending them videos to the actual point that I went in and had a meeting with the Podge and Raj lads in RT. Went in to meet them in
hilarious.
their office in Rathmines. When I knocked on the door, they were like, "How old are you?" I was like 14, and they were like, they started pissing themselves laughing. They were like, we're coming in to meet a 30-year-old man." So I was always techie.
So you were selling their product, right? And they didn't know who you were, and they were like, "Right, we need to get this guy Evan on the phone."
Yeah, they just emailed me. So we emailed back and forth. "I would love to meet you. You're selling videos, blah blah blah." And I was like, shit. I was even saying to my mum, "Fucking hell, am I going to get in trouble for this?" And she was like, "I don't know." But then when I knocked on the door and they opened the door and your man looked down the stairs, it was actually, I can't remember what his name, I think it's Mick. He does Rogers' voice. I could be wrong now. He just, remember him looking down the stairs. It would have been like coming in here and meeting your one at the top of the stairs, and it's like, "How old are you?" It's like, "I'm 14." And he was like, "Holy shit," he pissed himself laughing. So yeah, so I suppose that was kind of a little, there was definitely a little entrepreneurial part to me that I didn't really know.
Well, you don't know what it is at that point.
You don't know what it is.
Survival. You need money. It was just I want to buy new spray paint, so I need to get money.
And we didn't really have money. My mum she was working like 2 jobs nearly at the time, so we didn't really come from
you
money.
Had to get your own.
Yeah, we had to get our own money. So we all had jobs. I worked in Texaco when I was 15 and Super Value and all this kind of shit. So we done all the normal jobs, But so that was kind of like, so I was doing the website on the Podge and Roger website. I had a Dublin graffiti website. So I used to spray paint myself. I was never really that good at the spray painting the art, but that's kind of how the photography evolved. Kind of businessy sort of thing evolved. But like it didn't really, that was 14, but sure, I didn't start until I finished Irish Ferries when I was 22, 23. So, there was a gap of not knowing what I wanted to do. I was still into art, I was still into drawing. It did kind of die, the drawing, but the photography was always kind of still there.
What about like, you worked in Irish Ferries? Like, how do you deal with working for somebody?
Yeah.
Like, how do you deal with like having to be somewhere at a certain time?
At working for people. Like, I had gone from like started like my first day. Your mum was like, "All right, like." Because obviously working in boats, people are getting sick everywhere. Like, so it was like, "Clean up that sick." And I was like, "Fuck off, I'm not cleaning up that sick." So I was
then you realised you had, like,
my mate was like, "You can't, you have to, that's what your job is, man. You have to clean up fucking sick. You have to collect trays." So very kind of quickly, I was like, "Oh, collect trays." And I realised that nobody, so I was like, "I'm going to try collect as many trays as possible." So I was able to collect loads of trays, and they moved me into the shop. I was on the tills in the shop, like within a couple of weeks, and then they moved me onto the tills in the restaurant. And I think the girl even said to me, "Jesus, the first time in ever since I've been here that we haven't had like a fuck up of the money tills, we haven't avoided." So, and then after maybe 2 months there, she was like, "Here, do you want to work in the kitchen?" I mean, there's people there 5 years who were still doing the same thing. So straight into the kitchen then. I was in the kitchen there for nearly 3 years then. So I was doing a couple of days then in Colbrewer Street as well. Well, I did a couple of days on Colbrewer Street, pretty much. I think I actually did maybe like 5 or 6 days on Colbrewer Street.
And how did you? Well, I don't want to say like why did you leave it, but how did you get out of that?
Everybody got. I don't know if anyone remembers. If you're from Dublin, you might remember. And in your 30s, there was a massive thing that there was a march and everything in town over it. Everybody got let go. Irish Ferries, they changed the flags to Cypriot flags, and they replaced all the Irish staff with Eastern European staff. So I mean, everyone got let go in the whole company. Blessing for me, like, but like, I mean, people at the time, it was people's livelihood. I remember like people saying like, "I'm losing my job." People in their 30s with mortgages and kids. So it was a huge thing. That was 2006, was it 2006, 2007 maybe? So yeah, it was massive at the time. So, so that was, for me, it was a blessing. I was like, "Fuck, I don't give a shit." I left then. But then it was kind of like, I'd say if, you never know, I could have still been there if it was, a couple of years.
That's what happened to me. That's why I said, like, I got stuck. I ended up working in a similar job, like working for somebody for 13 years. Like, I had various different things on the side all the time.
You were doing for refrigeration, I met you.
Yeah, but then I had invested in properties and various different things going on on the side. But for the main part, I had this blessing as well that I ended up
Yeah.
getting, let go, and
Yeah.
I didn't have the job anymore, so
Yeah.
I was forced into something else.
Yeah.
And that's whenever everything creative that I had been
Yeah,
working
I
on
know, I
from I was
remember,
like
yeah.
14, 15
Yeah,
sort of came to
it's
the
funny.
foreground, because you
Yeah.
have to.
You never really think of it that way,
No.
though, do you? At the time, like I'm only actually kind of thinking of it now when you're saying to me, Jesus, actually, yeah, you did have a kind of a businessy thing.
I have this thing now where it's like whenever something's happening, or it's not happening for you, it's happening to you. It's not
Yeah.
happening to you, it's happening for you.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
it's like this is, oh God, why me? It's like, no, this is a reason why. Even the good stuff,
Yeah.
I look at the good stuff like that, I'm like, this is happening for a reason.
Yeah, of
We
course.
need to like add to this. How can we make this better? How can we
Yeah.
move forward? So then you were gone from Irish Ferries. What was
Gone
the
from
next
Irish
thing?
Ferry, so I think we got let go from Irish Ferries in April, and I was in my friend's. So this is April 2006. So yeah, I was in my friend's mom's, in my friend's house, and his mom said to me, "What are you going to do?" And I says, I'll just see what happens." She says, "Oh, would you think of doing a course in like photography? I know you love like taking photos and stuff," because I always had a little snappy camera. It was still like, even though it was 2006 and there were digital cameras.
But you still have a Polaroid camera, though.
Yeah, but I still use a 35mm snap, because an actual like even a low end SLR in 2006, you're probably paying about $1,500 for it at the time. I think I had a 350D, I think it was at the time. It was like a piece of shit thing, but I mean, in comparison to now standards,
Compared to what the stuff you have now, but
Yeah.
I think that whenever you've got an eye for it or a talent for it, the equipment is.
Yeah, we can talk about that again. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
100%. Like, I'll get back into that equipment thing, because, like, I mean, fucking, like, but it's not even. I mean, I'm still using as basic equipment as possible. I was only saying to my friend this morning, like, I mean, you can. Yeah. Anyway, we'll get back to the equipment thing, but, yeah. So that was. She said, "Oh, look, do you want to do a photography course? I'm working at Marino College. I'll put your name down, blah blah." And I said, "I'll leave it till next year. I'll just take a year out." Basically just a year to do nothing. Like, I was sick of work, and like you work because you work week on, week off. It actually wasn't that bad. It was week on, week off, 12 hours a day for a week, and you're off for a week. It was actually, Jesus, I don't even think you get a job like that now. But yeah, so the next day she just rang my mom's phone, the house phone. She said, "Oh, look, Evan, I'm after putting your name down. You have an interview tomorrow in Marino College to do a photography course." So I was like, "All right then." I didn't even have any photos. I think I took my brother's friend was a photographer, he band photographer. So I think I just pretended that my photos were his photos. And all my photos were like, I think I had a picture like a rainbow I took out the back window on a digital camera, because I think our uncle gave us a digital camera from the States. Actually, it was a little Nikon digital camera, and I printed out a few photos in the chemist or something, and a couple of other like terrible. Now I think I actually found it recently enough what I gave them. I think I even put in like pictures of like weed I'd took like in like Amsterdam or something. Like, I swear to God, it was shit. But
You
like,
probably thought you were so creative. Wow, we've never seen weed before.
I'd say it was because my mom's friend was I think she was the secretary in Marino. So anyway, I was in. I done the interview and I was in. Then I started. And I think I was starting in September. Then so that would have been April, May. So I did. I went away, loads of holidays and everything, because we would have got had a payoff. Everyone got like a redundancy. Mine was quite low because I was only there a short period of time. But so then I think did I buy a camera then? Yes, yeah, I did actually. I bought that 400D then. So I was like, I'm doing a photography course, so I bought the Canon 400D. So that was my first digital camera. So started then in September, and yeah, I didn't know what I was doing. We had all these assignments, like a photojournalist assignment. I remember doing a photojournalist assignment, and it would have been the Ireland rugby game, I remember, against England in Croke Park. And I was like, I'm going to get in with the protesters, all the like Irish Sinn Féin protesters, and just take photos. Like, I'll dress up as like a little fucking scumbag, which wasn't hard for me to do at the time. And I'll just take a few snaps. But I ended up nearly getting arrested, I remember, at that, taking photos of, I can't remember what I got. I think it was smart with like a guard or something at the time, nearly got arrested. But so I was trying everything, landscape photos, just a bit of like, because this was before the Instagram, Facebook time. I think I wasn't even on Facebook at the time, 2006, 2007. So I didn't know what way. I think everyone has a bit of direction now. They know what they like. All the photographers now know what they like. All the young people.
Because they're watching it and they see they've much more exposure, to, like inspiration.
Oh, 100%.
Do you know what I mean?
And I find nearly now, there's like everyone's using the Sony camera, and the shots are unbelievable. But it's almost like everyone's a carbon copy of each other on Instagram.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're all the same thing. It's like orange, teal fucking presets, and it's all kind of the same stuff. But like, I mean, it's great that everybody has a fucking camera in their pocket now,
Yeah.
But so I went into Marino, I was there for a year doing all assignments, and there was a lad actually in my class. I think his name was Dean, and he was like, "Oh, I'm assisting a fashion photographer." It was Kip Carroll. He was a fashion photographer. He's like, "Oh, I'm assisting him," and he showed me the shoot that he did. He was like, "I took all these pictures like behind the scenes on his digital camera, and it was a big set and everything, the hair and the makeup." And I was like, "Fuck, that looks deadly! Like that looks class! Like it's so creative. Like every element of it, the makeup, the hair, the styling, the lighting, the set." I was like, "Fuck, that's cool. I'd love to do that." And I was like, "Oh, would you mind if I did that with you? Would you ask him?" And he was like, "Oh yeah, of course, yeah." So I think I'd asked Kip, and he was like, "Oh yeah, come in whatever day and assist me." And then I think I fucking broke my arm. I think I was in a fight or something. I can't remember.
I'm sure up to no good.
Up to no good. Anyway, my arm was broke, and I was still doing the course. I remember fucking carrying the camera around my left hand with me for the rest of for about 2 months. But I just emailed Kip and says, "Look, I can't do it." And he was like, "Oh, I have a broken hand as well. That's why I need 2 assistants or whatever." So he said, "Look, get back on to me." Anyway, I got on to Barry McCall then. Mm-hmm. So Barry McCall, I think, a lot of people know Barry McCall. He's the biggest fashion photographer. He shoots like U2 and all the big campaigns. So.
And how did you approach him then? So
I just emailed him again, just an email. Just said, "Oh, here, are you looking for any assistance?" I think that happens a lot more now than it might have back then. People looking for assistant work. Maybe I could be wrong. I don't know. But he just was like straight away, just like, "Yeah, come in, whatever day."
You just think like a free hand for the day. Like,
yeah. And I was like,
we get it a lot here.
Yeah, you know? But I wasn't young. I was like, I was just out of a job for 3 years. I was fucking grafting a job. I went into just like being an assistant. Like I wasn't getting paid. Well, I think I was getting paid. I might have been getting paid. I can't remember. But it was like I was just running, getting sandwiches for people, holding a reflector. I didn't even know what I was doing. He was setting up lights. He was asking me to set up lights, and I remember just holding stuff and whatever. Just I think what I learned off him was how to deal with people. I remember meeting the models, and then meeting all the hair and the makeup people. I remember meeting even hair people like Michael Leon, who I ended up working with all these people, and Clucci, makeup artists. I ended up working with them eventually. Wow. But these were all the first people I met on set for shoots. And I just loved the buzz, and Barry was sound. I think like the first couple of weeks we were doing like Gillette, Brown Thomas, what else were we doing? We were doing big enough sets, like
do you
they were
think
big
was that
shoots.
Like really important? Like, I'm a very visual person, so whenever if I talk to someone, I'm like, I want my movies to go around the world. I want them to go everywhere. Yeah. So you'd like being exposed to that level.
Yeah, it just set a standard for me.
Yeah, because you're like, right, okay, I want this.
Yeah,
this is what I want.
Yeah, this is what I want. This is the buzz I want, and it'd be like, and it was real chilled. And Barry was he was so nice. I mean, he was so sound. It was like his life looks fucking brilliant. Yeah. He's just shooting all these people, and he'd like before the shoot was over, like he'd nearly have the whole shot list printed off. Sure, I'm not even at that stage yet, you know what I mean? Yeah. But he knew what he wanted, and I was like, you know what, this is... I didn't learn anything about how to use a camera. Like, it wasn't like, I'm shooting this on,
But you not think...
ISO 100 at f4. I was like, I didn't have a fucking clue. Didn't even know it was doing reflector, but he was shooting on film, he was shooting on 10 by 8 Polaroid film and everything. So I learned just, I think, how to deal with people. I think that's what I learned.
You need to have the talent, do you know what I mean? Which you have been had since you were 14 coming through learning.
Yeah.
But I think this is what I often talk about is people don't... being able to talk about money, being able to talk about how you treat people, what's your customer service, people wanting to come back and work with you again, putting the right team together, putting the right lighting people together.
Oh, definitely. Like 100%. I think it's even like, I don't even know how to say this in a good way, but like when I ended up going to IADT then after so I did a year then. What did I do? Yeah, so I trained with Barry anyway. Actually, after Barry, I didn't even train with Barry. I was there for I'd say maybe 10 shoots over a couple of months. And I remember actually saying to him, he said to me, "Can you come in and do a job today?" And I said to him, I'm going to a party tonight. And I remember that was the end of it then. He was like... And that was a lesson learned for me then. I was like... he was basic, "I need you tomorrow." And I was like, "I'm going to a party." And then it was it then. So that was a lesson learned for me then. I was like, shit. So anyway, I went back. I emailed him and said, "Look, thanks for everything." I went to...
he's teaching you it does take 100% commitment. Yeah. If you want to work at this level... Yeah.
But that was a lesson learned there and then. I felt the disappointment in him when I said it to him. I said, I think at the party, I don't remember what the party was for, but obviously it was, when you think about it now, it was so pointless.
I know, but that's
to whatever
that's exactly
it was,
it.
yeah.
No,
And I kind of...
What's going to be more important to you in 5 years?
Yeah, of course. But I see this now,
You know?
when I get people in to assist me now, like, you know, you get so many people who want to assist, and they want to, but they don't want to do anything. Half the time I find it's like they just want to be there and watch fucking what's, they won't even want to hold a reflector for you. They're lazy, the people. Maybe it's the fucking people I'm getting in. I've had I can't say that about everybody. I've had a couple of people. Carl, actually, O'Reilly, he was one of my assistants. You know,
Carl is actually brilliant. I met Carl, and I contacted Carl actually to do a job when you weren't available.
Yeah.
And Carl was out in LA, I think, or New York or somewhere.
Yes, that's right. LA
But
was.
he's
Brilliant.
But the thing is, I got in your office that day. I got a sense of Carl that it was straight away.
Yeah,
he's
a nice fella.
He's a nice guy.
Funny fella.
He's committed.
But he's talented
you know that he
as well.
is hungry to learn. Like
yeah.
you could sense how hungry
he's like this little sponge.
And I think I was kind of like that at one point, and I'd say you were as well. You know, I'd say people probably picked up. This guy, you know, because whenever I go back, I love like teaching or training people that are hungry. Yeah. You know what I mean? And giving them, you know, giving them advice.
Yeah, I think you give people advice as well when you're that age, but nobody, you know, some
falls
people.
On deaf ears.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, and then, like I said, even with Barry that time saying to me like, "Can you come in?" and then just after that, then never spoke to me again. I think that for me, I knew I was like, "Fuck, I fucked that up." Then that was a lesson learned for me. You know, like you said, sometimes it falls on deaf ears. People don't listen to you.
You know, it falls on deaf ears with me, and it fell on deaf ears with you. And I think, you know, things still fall on deaf ears with me now, and I'm okay to take that lesson and like take that hit and go like, right, okay,
understand 100%. I'm a person who has to, you know, sometimes almost get in trouble with fucking authority before I listen.
Yeah,
it has to get serious. I think in school it was like that with me. In fucking life in general, it was like that with me. Sometimes it had to be like the last straw, and I'm like, shit, I better get my shit together.
But that probably is a negative, but it's probably also you can twist it into a positive because you can drive a set, you can push through your creative vision, and then people will say like, right, okay, actually, that was right, that was the right decision to make, you know.
Yeah, 100%.
So whenever. What was then your what do you class as like your big break then? What was your big job?
So after then, I actually went to IEDT then. I put down a portfolio together in Marino, and I got accepted into IEDT. So that was there's 2 photography degree courses, and then there's one. So I may as well, one photography, 2 degree courses, DIT and IEDT, and then there's one like diploma course in Griffith College as well. People always ask me about colleges. I think that's the only 3 that I know. And so I did a year, so 2 years. How long did I do in? So I did, I think 2.
Which college? Which
one?
I
went to IEDT then in the end. Okay, so I got into IEDT then, and
it's out in Dunleary, right?
Out in Dunleary, yeah.
Like
Dean's Grange.
It genuinely has. I in my experience so far, our best people coming through and students are from that college. Like in film, like I've got a guy working with me at the minute, and he is like brilliant. Another we got Simone, another guy Louis, who came through. He's a friend. I got introduced to him by a friend of mine, Eamon and Jill. But I mean, everybody who's been to that college, I just find that they're.
Yeah, I to be honest, I was even doing Irish Ferries and all this stuff before, and I went to Marino in town, but I don't think I really grew up or matured until I went to IEDT. Like, as in, my class was just a bunch of, you know, people from all walks of life, all different nationalities. I think one of my best friends, Dave, he was like, you know, in his mid to late 30s at the time. I was only 23, and then another Peter was another fellow who was like 50, I think. And these are the people who was getting on with like
even Simone, he's from Italy, you know, and that's the thing. And I think it is a brilliant. I think there's bound to be, if you went through all the people that's come out of there that have done well.
I ended up shooting, so everything I was kind of shooting there was all film. I think the first year is film. I think it's all changed now, but it was all film at the time. So I got really into print, and I'd spend like days in the dark room in there. Like, I mean, I'd go in at like 9 o'clock in the morning. I wouldn't leave till I was told to fucking get out, you know. Did
you feel like all your Christmases it came at once whenever you had all this exposed, all this stuff?
I used the shit. I used the shit out of the dark rooms and the studios in there. I think I was bringing in nearly clients into the studio and done. At one stage they were like to me, Evan, you can't keep booking in every day into the studio. Other people want to use it, and then I'd leave it for a week and no one else would use it. Maybe 1 or 2 people, and they'd go, okay, go on, just use as much as you want. So. Yeah, that was kind of my little place to learn, and of course we had all sorts of projects. It was really busy. I didn't miss a day for 2 years in IDT. And
had you ever done that before in any other walk of life?
No, I was no. Well, I'd kind of learned when I worked in Irish Ferries to I
Discipline.
was always a worker. Like I always worked, But there was definitely a discipline learned in college because there was essays. I used to struggle with the essays now, for like 5,000 word academic fucking essays, and I was just like, this is
That would be my idea.
and referencing this, that, and the other. And I used to have like night terrors nearly thinking about the fucking essays over the Christmas. Jesus Christ, what am I going to do? So I got help from Tara and Brady. Actually, she was like a writer for Hot Press magazine. I don't know if she's still writing for Hot Press, but she's a writer and a movie journalist. So I used to go up to her house and be like, fucking help me. And she did. Now she really, really helped me. So I think then to come third year. So yeah, sorry. So after first year in IDT, then my big sort of thing would have been, I think a lad, Dermot Colgan now, he is a designer in Duns. He'd been working in, I think, Gap and stuff, I could be wrong now, in the States. And he was my old next door neighbour. So he used to babysit me. He actually got me into drawing. So this is the connection coming back. So he used to sit and we used to babysit and he used to draw like one-eyed demons and all mad stuff. Like for me, I used to go, draw a monster and you draw for me. Like, so I think I had his drawings on my wall and stuff. So anyway, he got me really into drawing. Actually, probably Dermot and his sister as well. The family were quite arty. So he got me into drawing then. And anyway, I think he'd come back from the States. He's working in Duns, and his mum Anne, I think, said to my mum about, you should get Evan into Duns and do photo shoots or whatever. So I think I'd rang Dermot, and he was like, come in for a meeting. I have to tell Michael Heffernan that you're coming in for a meeting. So he goes, just bring whatever you have. Bring like, fashion photos and this, that, and the other. Fucking, I hadn't taken any fashion photos at the time. So I think I'd ripped out loads of stuff out of like magazines and just put them into like a portfolio. Like, and I was just going to say, I didn't shoot this, but I can do this. So any sort of inspo I had from photographers, I just ripped them out, put them in this little portfolio.
This is what I would like to do. This is what.
Yeah, exactly. So this is what I'd like to do. So I remember going into this meeting. I was with Anne Heffernan.
What age were you at this point?
So this is after first year in IDT. So
you were still a student?
Yeah, still a student.
And you had a meeting with Duns?
Had a meeting with Duns, yeah. So they'd kind of got rid of all their marketing department at the time. It was all focused on grocery and stuff. And Barry McCall was actually shooting, who I was assisting, like the year before. He was shooting all their stuff. So I'd got in then with Duns, had a meeting with Michael and Anne. I remember being in this big glass room, like boardroom. Me at one end of the table and then them at the other end of the table, and me just fucking talking horse shit. But like, I can do this and I can do that and I can do. And it was even all product stuff I had in the portfolio that I made and fashion shots.
But you knew you could do it, though. You felt.
Yeah, I felt I could do it. Yeah. So they said to me then, because I done my little bit of studio stuff in IDT, whatever, during the year. So I said, look, I'll just fucking chance my arm. So So I think Michael said, okay, can you come in? We'll do a test shoot on Wednesday. I think he was one of the girls at Dunn's office, good looking girl. I think Danielle was her name. So I had to go back to my mum because I had no money at the time. I wasn't working or anything. So I said, here, look, I'm after getting this job at Dunn's. They give me a test.
So you got the job? You actually went in with.
Well, I got a test shoot. He said, let's do a test shoot, and we see, and we wear the, we get a number of items and whatever. Yeah. So I think I got my mum at the time to give me the money. So I bought like two Ellen Chrome 400 fucking thing. I don't even know if they have D400 or something. They're called lights.
Yeah.
And she gave me the money to buy them. So look, I'll pay you back. Probably still haven't paid her back. I was like, I'll pay you back when I get a wage off them, So I went in for Dunn's, shot the girl Danielle in the clothes. He loved them. Michael Heffernan loved them. So he was like, okay, let's do a proper shoot now. That was a test shoot. Let's book in a proper shoot. So myself and Dermot then set up a kind of a studio area in Dunn's, which I think is massive now. But we set it up at the time, the studio in there. So they have in-house people there now. I think I was the first in-house person there. So we set up the studio, and then he said, go in and book models. So I didn't fucking have a clue. So I had to go into first option models and meet, I think it was Trish, and I don't know if Jules there, but Trish, and I had to have a casting, all these models coming in, and I'd be like, yeah, he'd be good, she'd be good, taking names. Fucking, I was just sweating, even meeting people coming into me and me going, he's not good enough or she's not good enough. So we had a men's wear shoot and a ladies wear shoot, and we shot the stuff. It was with a girl, Shona, actually. I remember Shona, I think it's Hogan's her name, and it was her first shoot as well, so that made me feel more comfortable. So we shot all these clothes. It was like Star Boys, a jacket for like €20, but I remember that when it went to print, they're in the windows of all the shops and Duns all across the country. And then I remember Dermot saying to me, "Come on outside," and he brought me out. They used to have a billboard outside Duns. I think this. I don't know if they still have it there. And all my photos on the billboard. And I was like, he was like, "What do you think of that?" And I was like, "Oh, it's cool." And he was like, "You don't seem too impressed." And I was like, "Yeah, I know, but I think the photo shoot could have been better."
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? So he was like, "Oh, look, shut up," and all whatever. So they'd sold out of all the jackets and clothes. It was like a big thing. So Michael then got me in again. So I was there shooting stuff for Duns for, I think that was the summer then, the first year. And I think I was still shooting for maybe a year or two after that then. And then they got in-house people themselves.
Did you find that after that, like that was your first big shoot, did you find that gave you exposure? Like people going like, "Who is this photographer?"
Yeah, because it would have been on Facebook at the time then. So Facebook people, any models or anyone, that was kind of my little tool of promotion then. I think even
you were actually
Bebo,
you were like way ahead of that. Like I remember whenever we first met in 2010, and you were always like in Alfie's or taking photographs of somewhere, or checking in, and everybody seemed to be dropping around and following you. Remember the desk shots
that was
as well?
Almost like, I think I didn't even know.
You were like an influencer before influencers existed.
I was sure. Even with the desk shots, people were saying to me, "Oh, can we drop in brands? Can we drop in products and put them on your desk?" I remember Red Bull and all. Can we leave stuff in the studio?
Like Coca-Cola,
putting
Bull,
stuff on the desk
like
for me.
You know.
So before influencers, I'm the first influencer. But before all that kind of buzz, there was definitely an element of that. So I did Duns then. A lot of people contacted me online and stuff, and that's when I think after doing the Duns stuff, people like, "Oh, I saw you shot."
Did you find it snowballed? Like, it's just for me, like I ended up whenever I opened Bankhouse, you know, I done the first job with Brian with Chopped. Do you remember Brian?
Yes,
I was like, I think we could do something with Chopped. Can you put me in touch with him? He actually put me in touch with Brian, and then Brian ended up giving me the first job, which was brilliant. That was my first client.
Was
for
it?
Bankhouse, I swear to God,
gas, isn't it?
2014, and hilarious. But like straight after that, like it just snowballed.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? For us, it just was like, oh my God. And I had to put people on the team.
I used to see you every week, and then after that,
disappeared.
I've only seen you 5 times.
That was whenever I was on the dole.
I know.
Floating up and down Georgia Street.
On the session.
Hammered. But no, I'd end up getting completely serious then after that. But you know, at that point we did hang out a lot and we ran around, and then I did sort of put my head on it. But I can remember we bumped into each other and went for dinner one night, and I had stopped drinking at the time. You were like, "Holy shit, I can't believe that." But I hadn't seen you either, and you were like, "But I've just done a Ryanair shoot. I've just done it." Literally in that period, I think it's just
going to the fucking cinema to watch your premiere of South and everything at the time. It's crazy. It did snowball.
I know, it just came out of nowhere. South was actually on RT and Saturday
I
night.
seen that. Yeah, no, because seen Jared actually putting it up on Instagram. But it was definitely Facebook was like the Instagram of the time, so it definitely did not even snowball, but I could definitely. A lot of people started getting in touch with me about photo shoots because you have to remember then, even though it was 2007 or 2008 maybe at the time, I think. It's probably 2008 I think at the time. So it's definitely more than 10 years. So that was my first job. So 2008 then. Facebook was definitely a tool at the time for. You know, I think I was like at the time there wasn't that many photographers who were kind of young and shooting the fashion stuff. Like now there's so many. Like everyone's a photographer and fashion photographer. But Lily Forberg then, she was shooting stuff. She actually asked me one day to help her to shoot. Like she used to shoot a night in South William Street, a place called Spy, and she said to me, "Oh, do you want to come and shoot the nightclub shots with me?" So that's why I kind of met loads of people actually through Lily then as well in town. And then Janan actually got a job in doing accountancy in Alfie's then across the road. So that was my base then for a year.
Office in there upstairs.
Yeah, so Niall actually from Alfie's let me take basically use the upstairs. So I had a studio set up basically on the 3rd floor. So
I know
that was in so that would have been.
That was about 2010.
Yeah, I was still in I was still in college then. 2010 it was. Yeah,
because I just moved to Dublin and you'd just kind of been moving into Alfie's at the time. Yeah, and that was like everybody's base though. Everybody went there for lunch and hung out, and I thought it was a really good atmosphere and a really good time. It was very creative and there was loads of different things happening. But no, I did see that at the time as well and watch all the sort of growth going through. And you did see the clients getting bigger and
I was mad into the Facebook, into promotions and getting stuff like, you know, basically getting people to fucking engage in it. Like at the time, I mean, I was much better then than I was now. Maybe because I don't have the time now that I used to have. I think I used to look busier then. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, totally. That's it.
You were so
you
active.
You look busier.
I looked busier then, and now
because you were
I'm
selling
like,
yourself.
Yeah,
no,
you're constantly selling
and that's
yourself.
what people have to do. Like you think about, you know, someone like right now is in that position you were in 2008, 9, 10. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Looking for their first big job,
Yeah.
trying to promote themselves online.
Yeah.
How do they do it now in a flooded,
Yeah,
in a flooded
it is.
industry? What,
Yeah,
what
even
do they
though
do?
even though there is so many people, it is flooded. But I think what really stands out now is just good, solid work. You know, I think you can see just talent in some people as well straight away. But like even I found, and I was going to say this earlier as well. There were so many people in my college who were so talented, like 10 times fucking better technically than I was at photography. More, but they just, I think you definitely need a social skill. You know what I mean? You need to be able to talk to people.
Yeah.
And I like
People don't. People don't. They buy the product, but they buy the person. Do you know what I mean?
100%.
You know, and
yeah.
it's like the thing is, like,
100%.
you have to be able to communicate. You have to be able
Yeah.
to charge. You
Yeah,
have to be able to know your own
charge, you have to
value.
be able to communicate. You also have to be able to understand the brief and be in constant communication with the people as well. I'm sure I've done jobs over the years. I said and I didn't have a clue what I was doing. Sometimes you come out swimming, other times I bombed. I was like, fuck that, I can't do that job.
Yeah.
Or I'm not into that job or whatever. Like,
And you have to see it through and have to finish it. I've been there as well, you know.
you have to see it through,
eat
yeah.
At the end of the day,
Yeah.
whenever you're starting out, you have to
Yeah.
survive, and
Yeah.
you do take on jobs that maybe wouldn't be totally suited to you.
I spoke
have
to a
to-
photographer, real famous photographer, actually, David. Le Chapelle is his name. He was over here, and I think we got to have drinks with him. He had a show on, and I just asked him. I said, "Look, what kind of jobs did you do? How did you start out?" The usual question. He said, "Listen, I done fucking everything." He said, "I was doing jobs for food jobs. I was doing tourist jobs. You know, anything." He was like, "I was taking pictures of cats or something." Like he was just telling me. He said, "Even when I got my biggest jobs, I think his big one was Diesel at the time before he became like a real cool LA photographer. He was like, I was just doing whatever, like."
Yeah.
And he's obviously a massive photographer now, but he was like, "Just do it. Look," he says, "you have to pay bills.
I completely
just
agree.
do the jobs, do the shit stuff." You know, he says to a certain point.
As you seen now, like people aren't prepared to. You know,
Yeah,
they don't
they're
want
not
to stand hold
prepared.
a reflector.
I'd
they
assist-
want to,
yeah.
You know, they want to like photograph beautiful models and think that it's cool. You know,
I had an assistant in one day, and he said to me, "What are you shooting tomorrow?" I said, "I'm shooting, you know, lingerie campaign for whatever." And he was all, "Oh, deadly, I'll be in for that." And the next day, I'm like, "Do you want, you know, I'm shooting products for like hair products tomorrow." "Oh, I'm not available tomorrow." You know what I mean?
It's for the wrong reasons, but you know,
know?
that gets weeded through quite
Yeah,
quickly,
it gets
though.
weeded through, and then they're asking you how to shoot products. Then about 2 years later, how do you shoot the stuff? And I was like, I was fucking doing it when you didn't want to come in, and they were
know.
asking me how to do it now. You know, but
What do you think is like a path that people like? So if someone is sort of in that, just been made redundant, especially in the last
Yeah.
recession, you know, they've been made redundant.
I think the thing is, we were sort of, we started out a business when there was nothing really, didn't we? Like,
Yeah,
you know,
I
so
know.
you know, when you start when there's no money around, it's you know,
That
your
was it.
expectations aren't quite high. You're just
know.
like, I just want to get by. I want to be able to, you know, just provide
we
for
missed
myself.
the boom, like, you know,
Yeah,
we
we
both,
missed the boom,
the
yeah.
crash was there, and whenever I done my first job, it was for
Yeah.
a bit, you know, tiny money, you know.
Yeah, I was. Listen, I done stuff for nothing. They got me on a fucking nothing. I was doing stuff for
you
nothing.
didn't know. So
Yeah. I
whenever
didn't know, but also, do you know what? It was still, that was massive. That was like,
Oh no,
what
it added
house-
it,
yeah.
like it was so much value.
Yeah.
So at what point of your career did you say, right, okay, I know my value here now, and I'm gonna like charge the right money, or you know, you're gonna charge correctly now at this point?
To be honest with you, when I done stuff and I could see it in the windows and I could see it all over magazines, I could see it in the newspaper, I could see it on billboards.
You started to think-
I was like, that's when I knew I can do this. And I think I
Yeah.
said to my mum, I didn't finish IEDT, so we go back to 2008, 2009. I think third year in IEDT, I was missing days, and I remember like missing lectures. And we weren't even in that many days in third year. I think you're only in. I didn't miss a day for 2 years, and then third year was fucking missing days, missing lectures and stuff. And it was so bad academically when it came to essays. I think I'd failed my essay in third year. It was just a load of horseshit. I think I banged together, and I think Justin Carnival was his name. The tutor was like, "Hey, look, you're gonna have to repeat over the summer." I think I just made a decision in my head. You know, I was like, "Fuck this! I'll have a thesis to do next year, which will be 10,000 words." Not that I pulled out, but I was like, "Do you know what? Like, I'm turning down opportunities for work here now while I'm in college, so I'm just going to fucking just leave and just go
Yeah.
for it." And I think one of the tutors said to me, "Look, if you want to come back and never finish your degree, come back." So I didn't finish in IDT, but I did fucking learn like
Yeah.
so much there. Like I
course,
learned how
yeah.
to use, I learned how to print, I
Well,
learned
they
how to
done
use
their
film.
job because you ended up.
Yeah, I
like,
was shooting like 10:8 film, like 5:4 film. Like I was shooting slide film. I learned everything, like
That's unreal.
technically as much as I could learn in
Yeah.
IDT, so I learned so much in the first. I think the first 2 years I like the learning, and then the second 2 years they go off and do your own thing. And I need like a structure there, or else I'm not going to do it. You
Yeah.
know. So I left then, and I done Alfie's then, like you're saying, for
Yeah.
about 6-7 months. And Niall said to me then, look, why don't you just get your own place? Because you're sitting
Yeah.
here, I think it was sitting like leaning over like a little small desk and a
Sofa
laptop.
and,
And he was like,
yeah.
why don't you just get your own place? He says, if you get your own place, you'll make it work. So I think he started looking at places for me. Janan started looking at places for me.
Janan kind of was Janan really pushed you into
Yeah,
getting
he
the
did,
studio,
yeah.
you know?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, so Janan pushed me to get the studio then. So we got the studio around the corner. Luckily, there was so many places back then to rent though.
I know.
It's not the same
I
now.
feel blessed with my place as well.
Oh, 100%.
You know, and like we both have got like pretty slick studios in centre town. There's no question.
I
about
know,
it.
yeah. And about it, we made the space what it is, you know.
Yeah, yeah. The what do you call it? So like bringing forward to like today, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like what kind of clients have you been working with? Like whenever it sort of took off, where is it at right now?
Yeah, like I mean, to be honest, I think one thing people always ask me the same sort of questions, like, you know, how did you get to meet people, and how you have all these connections. People keep saying to me, like, couldn't even get into a fucking
A nightclub
in town.
I know.
And then the next thing you're up, bopping around the place and you're meeting people, and it's all cool. Like I'm like fucking last year, like. Couldn't even fucking get into this place. Wouldn't even have made it.
Now
today.
you're on the guest list. I remember.
I don't even mean that from a dickheady way. I just mean, I knew nobody coming into town. So I met everybody in town, made your connection in town. You got on with people as well.
No,
you know what I mean? And you have to be a straight shooter, and you know it yourself, Matt. No shit.
No,
No bullshit.
I think people respect if you're just upfront and honest, and if something's not working, you just say it, and that's it, and you just move forward from there.
And
I would be
reliability
like that
as well is massive.
Look, I mean, being reliable is key. It's the only thing that people just know that you're there. They know that you're going to get,
getting the job done.
Getting the job done. Like, I mean, no matter what, like I always got job done. I've always seen you getting the job done. Whenever I was getting into whenever I was sort of acting, my first ever thing that I ever produced, actually, which I didn't have a company or anything, was, remember we were doing that, we were going to do a music show.
Yeah.
And literally, I went to Evan and I said, I've got this idea. I want to make this like TV show. It's live music. It's set in Dublin. We pulled it together probably in 2 weeks or something.
Yeah.
We got 2 bands. We got a location. We got a film crew. We got like sound engineers.
I was bringing pizzas and all up to
we
the
got
place.
pizzas. And then the one part that actually failed, let the whole thing down, was Evan. I said, we need a presenter, and Evan says, you can do the presenting. And I was like, really? Do you think so? He's like, yeah, do it. So I went in front of the camera and completely froze. Like, it was the worst bit of, like, it was actually hilarious. It was like, the only thing that let it down was the fact that I was in front of the camera going,
did we even finish your part?
We don't know, I've got it still.
Yeah,
like, it'll never be seen.
yeah. That's gas, isn't it?
Oh no, we've got the songs, and but that was like where we were at, like creative, ambitious.
What year was that then?
That was 2012.
Was it
Actually,
2012?
It was about or maybe actually 2011 into 2012, because before
But don't
Christmas.
you had the studio then?
No, I don't know. I don't know if you did or not.
Because I was using Lily's one stage
Lily's
as a
as well,
studio.
yeah. That's
Because
when we
after
shot ours,
for whatever reason, I remember they were letting me do shoots in Lily's. I don't know why I was using Lily's. Maybe I couldn't use Alfie's at the time. It was before I obviously got the studio space. And then when I got the studio space, I suppose that kind of changed as well then. Like, I mean,
you just like
it's a base for people as well.
Whenever you were using social media, and what I found other people using social media, your studio hasn't really stopped since.
Yeah, no.
Being realistic here.
Oh, it's just every year gets busier now, and even that desk shot thing I was doing at the time, it was almost like that was a real Instagram-y sort of thing now, even though it was Facebook.
It was literally one of the most creative pieces of marketing that we had seen it around in that time. Because agencies were coming through, they didn't really know how to work with, everything was TV and radio. And then there was this thing online, and people were like, what is going on with this online situation? Then the next thing you see, like, half-naked girls photographed on your desk. They're like, what the hell? Why is everybody talking about this guy, Evan?
That was another thing at the time as well, I suppose. I was still shooting stuff for the paper, I used to shoot for like the Sun and the Star, or whoever was fucking half naked.
Then they were, they were probably getting more exposure through your page.
But they used to, but what happens was they used to, like, that had all changed as well. So I'd gone through, like, see, young people are asking me now, like, how did you start out? And I was like, I was fucking shooting on film cameras, and digital cameras are expensive. And this was only like 8-9 years ago, and even that changed. Even the whole industry changed. All that kind of like those birds were almost like the fucking Instagram models, weren't they back then?
That's
for the newspapers.
If they had followers, like they would probably have 100,000.
Yeah,
you know what
exactly.
I mean? Like that's the thing. It
like,
wasn't. It didn't happen then.
Yeah.
And some of them's probably still around. Do you ever see anybody now that used to shoot for the desk shots?
Desk shots, yeah. Well, everyone's still knocking around. All the desk shop heads are still there. Like, I mean, Jesus Christ, it would have been all the Roz and all would have been in them as well. And Georgia Salpa and all those girls. And there's loads.
They've all done so well.
People were coming into me at the time from businesses, like asking me like to look after their social media. Because I was getting massive hits. Or Michael Wright and all came in, had a meeting with me over the stuff. Like he was, how are you getting such, like how was getting such engagement? Yeah, which wasn't. I didn't even. There wasn't even words or phrases.
The engagement wasn't even there. But it's like, why is everybody liking your stuff?
Yeah.
But it's like what you're doing, what you were doing then was just really authentic. You're like, I think this is going to work, and I think that's what we're doing now with like Bankhouse Media. We're doing stuff that is kind of, probably frowned upon by other agencies because a campaign should take, a month's prep, 15 meetings. Let's get the storyboard out. Let's do this. I actually just grabbed the lads. I'm like, get the camera. We're going over here and just literally film it there and then.
And you're saying though as well, like it's about being reliable and getting the job done. But like there's people who are shite who get the job done and they don't do it well. You're getting the job done and you're doing it properly.
Keeping the standard high.
You know what I mean? You're keeping the standard really high.
I actually lost a client at one point, and I sort of thought to myself, okay, they're gone. And I understood every single reason why. And I was so annoyed at myself.
Yeah, I've done that as well.
So I actually put my head down and just worked away and just was like, do you know what, that really annoyed me. They're now back and they're one of my best clients.
Oh, no,
because I knew that I had to go and I had to tick a load of boxes for them to look at me. And then I sort of was glad that happened.
Yeah, I think you also need to appreciate other people. Like if and other people's work as well. I think that's a big thing. Like there's people who do stuff that now, even in Ireland, and I'm like, I fucking want to do that. And I'm like, can I do it? Or I can't do it. I think you have to be happy for other people's success in order to be successful yourself. I used to hear people giving out about, you one thinks she's great and he thinks, I'm like, no man,
that's
fucking
good. They probably
support the Irish people, support, like you have people like Alex Hutchison and Aaron Hurley's over in the UK now. He's brilliant. He's like a fucking 22 or something.
I think Alex, do you want to know what? I actually was working for an ad agency doing a job, and they were like, get this guy Alex to do the thing, and I was like, who the hell is he? I was going through Facebook trying to contact him. It turned out he was out of the country. You shot that job. But before I said, look, my mate Evan Doherty is here. There's a GAA one. And the guy who was there was like, my daughter's friends with this guy called Alex. Can you touch base with him? And I was like, I don't know.
There you go, Alex. Robbing your jobs. But Alex is he'd be one of the big fashion guys here, and like the thing as well is you need to be able to cross over into a bit of everything, commercial stuff and fashion stuff. I'm even doing some product stuff or whatever makes the business work as well. How do
you stay on top of it though? Like Instagram's changing, algorithms are changing, all this stuff.
I think all that stuff I fell off that completely, as in like when algorithms and all that shit came in. Sure, that like Facebook back then was just, there was no, like, it wasn't like a business page. There was no promoted post back then. It was just, they changed all the algorithms and Instagram and stuff. So I only texted actually Rachel, my friend there this morning, saying, hey, what is the story with, like, what time should I be posting this Instagram post at, or, what's the best time? And she was going through everything with me there this morning. So there's a whole nother, business.
Oh, like, I mean, we're looking at, even from the marketing side now, it is so much more psychological now. You have to, like, really get into... I always say, like, what my thing is, like, who's looking at your posts, who's reading your, who's shopping in your business. I like Instagram is pretty much, the way Brown Thomas do their Christmas window up, and they change their window every week, and do all that. Instagram is now your window of your shop. If you're not changing it, and you can't change it every week.
No, and that's
you just keep consistent.
You need, like, I think the Instagram stories, you can kind of put up whatever the fuck you want in Instagram stories or whatever, and you're working, and my stuff is fucking pictures of my dog or whatever. But it's also stuff like working with brands or whatever. I probably should work on it a bit more because it is part of the business now. Instagram is, and Facebook and all that sort of stuff. But like when it comes to self promotion, I think I kind of did all that as well. So now it's just kind of, there's a constant kind of flow now. Once I kind of keep everything looking shiny.
You've got a good solid foundation in.
Yeah, there's a foundation.
You're reliable. You've done. You've proved yourself.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, but I think you're still in like, Ireland's a small place, and it's a small place full of talented people. So everybody wants to,
You're only as good as your last job, and you have.
100%.
But you've been keeping on top of it.
I'm disappointed with jobs still. I do jobs now, and I'm like, that's shite. Like, I had this vision in my head, like, of what way I wanted to turn out, and I'm like, obviously I wouldn't say it to anybody that was shite, but in my own head I'm like, the fuck was that
And the
bollocks?
client's probably like delighted with it.
Yeah, sometimes, sometimes they are, but like, sometimes when you let yourself down, but I mean, that's all part of learning, I think, as well. You're always fucking learning. This job isn't last year. I'm like, what the fuck was that? Like, you know what I mean? I think you always have to learn.
As I said, like my first movie, you were at the premiere, and we had South on TV last week.
I went to that premiere,
Walsh
and I was like, what the fuck is going on?
I know, I'm so proud of that movie.
Yeah,
so we done that for like $8,500.
Yeah, but to be honest with you, I wasn't knowing what to expect. I was expecting something to be like shot in like a little, and the fucking thing was like proper.
We won like best feature in Fingal, best feature in London, around the world, and then RTE and cinemas and everything. So,
yeah, brilliant.
But I mean, I look at that and go like, oh my god, fuck! I wish I had changed that, or I wish we had another pass on the edit. And I know Ger thinks the same as well. Like me and Ger, but Ger's much better at me at saying, look, we're, moving. And he's not. I don't know where his head's at with it as well. But I know that I feel that he's better than me. He's like, look, it's brilliant. Let's just move forward from it. And
of course.
Me and George worked on various different projects, and we're actually talking about one right now again, which I would love to work with.
He seems to be doing like a bit of everything as well.
George's so talented. I think like,
and he's so nice as well. He's fucking sound.
But you're talking about like personality.
Yeah.
He's a perfect example. Yeah. People. He's a joy to be around.
Yeah, he is a joy to be around. There's no fucking ego with him or anything. He's just a down to earth fella. Gets it done. Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
it is good. But so right now, where you're at, so we end up like if you were to like give. Just I want to touch on one thing, right? Just before we sort of wrap it up, right? But you just talked about equipment, right?
Yeah.
Every single photographer always says, what do I need? Do I need to spend this amount of money? Do I need to spend this? Same with us with cameras.
Yeah.
We have various different types of cameras. I tell you what, with lights, I have bought LED lights. The best set of lights that we have, I robbed off Shane Lennon for 60 quid off Amazon, right?
No, this is the thing.
We use them everywhere. Like the guys travel with them; they're an easy bag to travel with, and they're brilliant for an interview setup.
100%.
So it's like you don't have to spend. I spent thousands on LED lights, and like these are 60 quid.
Yeah, there's a lad in Cork now, and he's setting up a studio now. Davy's his name, and he's always asking me like, "What do I use? What equipment should I get and what lights should I get?" He actually ended up telling me about a cheap set of lights that I ended up buying myself. I just said to him, listen, I've been using, I think I had a 5D Mark II, I think, for about 8 years. And when I went to get it fixed in cons, they were like, you've shot 8, like, there's clicks on the camera. And it was like, yours is like at like 800,000, which is like unheard of. Like people are like, I bought a camera, there's 20,000 clicks on it or whatever. I'm like, what the fuck? I said, mine is like, I think it was like 800,000 or something. I screenshot it recently and sent it to someone because I still had the email there. Like, the thing just died when I brought my Mark III. I took my other one out to use it for like a second camera and it just wasn't working. I was like, that thing must just, the minute I bought the new camera, the fucking thing just gave up. But yeah, I think if you have like just a couple of lenses, I have the Canon Mark IV and I still have the Mark III there, the 5D, and just a couple of lenses, and if I ever need to shoot anything bigger I might take the 1DX as well. But like I have 2 lenses, 3 lenses, 70 to 200, 24 to 70, and then I have, what the fuck do I have, 24 to 105, which I don't even use, I don't even have it, and that's all I really use. Like, and I had the 24 to 70, I'd say, 8-9 years, and the 70 to 200, I've had the fucking thing years. It's been smashed around the place. It's not about like all the equipment. People are fucking gearheads who just buy loads of fucking gear, but they don't even use half it, or they don't know how to use it, or else they end up selling it about 2 or 3 years later. Like, it's a different market. It is a different market now. It's changed. Even though I'm only like 8-9 years old, and some of these people asking me stuff, it has changed a lot in the past few years. It is everyone, like, it's like every few years there's a job or a creative job. Like, I remember years ago everyone was doing like there's makeup artists as well, and then there was like beauticians. Everyone wanted to do beautician, and just personal trainers. Everyone wanted to be personal trainer. I think now it's videographers and photographers as well. There's content creators. I fucking hate that term, content creators.
No.
I don't know why.
I think whenever I hear the term content creators, I think of
I understand
videographer. Like I think of like it doesn't like whenever I think of a photographer that's out, there's a passion behind it. There's a reason why they're taking that photograph. They've got there's something to get on. Where like content is almost like we need content to sell our product. And it doesn't feel like it has as much heart. Whenever we create content, I do put the heart into it, and we do put it in.
I think people do put it in. I just think it's a different way of looking at photography and videography. Is in
maybe it's just terminology. We just
it's not, because I was at an event there for Carlsberg actually today, Timmy, and he has all these lads doing all content firm, and they're all like real passionate about photography, but they look at photography now through Instagram. They look at it as a way of getting engagement, I think, on posts. Although they're taking beautiful photos, I think they're just looking at it differently, and probably in a good way as well, you know. But it's the photography media game's changed. I mean, everything is visual now.
Yeah.
You're on it. Sure, when we were on Facebook and Twitter at the start, it was like
big
it wasn't
text,
even fast enough.
You could even put a post up and people would read it. Now,
Yeah.
no one would ever.
Did you ever see when you look at memories now? It's like 8 years ago, and I'm like,
yeah.
I'm so busy right now, and like it wasn't. I probably had like one job that week, and you get like 200 people liking stuff. But now it's all you had 3G, then you had photos, then you got 4G, and you have video. So now it's just like it's almost like a toilet. It's just been flushed. So
every time I see a memory coming up with your name tag to it, I freak out. I think one, oh my
There's
god,
one
is he going to
reason.
share that? And then the second thing is like, what the hell were we thinking? You know, it was wild.
that was the good old days.
good
Anyway.
old
You're not
crack,
even drinking coffee anymore, you know?
I don't drink coffee. I don't eat meat. I don't drink. I don't.
Do you not eat meat now?
No. Eat fish. You
Do you?
know, I don't eat.
Since
it.
when did you give up?
Probably about a year ago.
Oh,
Year
did
and
you?
a half ago, yeah. It's actually a game changer though. I had real problems with my stomach, so I ended up sorting it out, you know.
No way.
But it was great. But so we've actually been waffling. But what
Sorry.
I was going to say to you, it was one thing I wanted to say though before. We touched on talking about young people coming through right now and what do they need to do.
Yeah.
You know, the big thing right now is like I think everybody's living their best life on Instagram.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? They're
100%.
at another shoot. They're at another day.
It's great.
You know, and at the same time, there's people out there that are really passionate about. They're maybe like hitting the engagement that they think that they should.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you know, and as we both talked about, is like we came from a place when there wasn't all this fucking noise and negativity coming from everywhere else, and it's like your photographs aren't good enough.
But like the thing I think is I don't get massive engagement on photos. I think it's more stories and stuff now that I'd see people kind of engaging with my stuff. But the stuff I like, I put up and I get like fucking 100 likes, and then I put up a picture of me with a fucking drinking a can, and I get like, and we get massive engagement. You know what I mean? So I think the stuff I like, I never let it like. I know I like it. I never let it. I never let it affect my opinion on the work that I like.
How do you do that though? Because that's
you do it because we didn't have to rely on it beforehand. We might have just skipped that little generation where it's so like I've people.
I think we did. To be honest,
I've someone coming into me the other day and she said to me, "What can I do? Like, what advice would you give me?" And I just said, what should I be shooting? I just said, just shoot whatever you love shooting. Be reliable with people. Enjoy the job. Like, don't do everything just to please people. Do what you like doing and just talk to people, meet people, go out there and meet people. That's definitely one of the biggest things. Engage with people as well, meet people.
I think the thing that you hit on there is like, if you're getting into this career to make money, don't do it. You know what I mean? There's easier ways to make money, like at the start. Because you have to be really passionate about it.
Well, you have to be prepared to make no money to start.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You have to go through a period of like working for free and having no struggling to make income. And whenever I signed on the dole,
but what happens is though, that's all well and good as well. But you got to remember that you came from making money. So when you came into this, you definitely had that business mind. Like I went from earning whatever it was. I think in Irish Ferries was on like 40 something grand to like in my 20s to having no money. So I was so used to having money. So I was looking at all the ways as well to make money.
That's the thing. And it is kind of hungry. Like I didn't. Whenever I sort of went back into and I'd end up hitting the last boom or crash and end up coming through it. I wasn't thinking, how can I make money? What I was thinking is, how the hell can I be happy? Because I wasn't happy in the previous life, in the previous job.
I wasn't either.
And I wanted to be like, I was like, I want to actually work with people I like. I want to be in a job that I like. And I didn't know what the job was. I genuinely didn't. I was thinking, what the hell is that going to be? And what does that look like?
Oh, 100%. I only look back even now and I'm so grateful for just even to be in this position now as well, just to be like
to like enjoy your day,
work enjoy yourself, the day,
love your clients,
100%, just work for yourself. Like, because I even said to my friend recently, geez, imagine like going back and working in one of the old jobs that you worked in, like, and I was like, I just wouldn't be able to do it. Like,
that's the thing. I couldn't go back now. Like even whenever I look back at some projects I worked on and some movies I worked on, I was like, geez, that one was brilliant, and then that one took a bit of a miss. What's the difference? Maybe it's a team of people around you. Maybe it's the people, because you get, whenever you work with a client, what I find, or whenever you work with people creatively, you're with them for months for a
Yeah,
start, possibly years. Do you know what I mean? Me and George have been working together now since 2015, and our movie just got screened on Saturday night in 2018.
Yeah.
So that's a project we're still involved with for 3 years. So I think like now I'm much more conscious of who I want to work with. How did it make me feel? Am I happy?
100%. I was doing a job for Air there, doing a Christmas ad. It was like a 3-day shoot on set. I fucking hate being on sets for shoots. I was like the bottom feeder, the photographer. Like you had I think you have like 2 minutes to get the shot while they've been filming for fucking 2 hours. So I even said to one of the lads there, Derek, who's working for 10th Man at another agency, and he said to me, he was like, I'd rather work with somebody who's less talented but sounder than work with somebody who's, you know, more talented and just a fucking hard, you know, he's like, you have to spend days with these people.
Oh no, you have to.
You know what I mean? He goes, you have to compromise.
I have compromised. Like I have where I used to be really hard. See, whenever you wanted to go to that party and then bang, you never heard from him again.
Yeah.
I used to be like that.
Yeah.
Now I'm much more lenient because I look at the big picture and I go like, right, okay, there's a blip here for like one night. There's a big picture here. And I go like, you know, for me to even go back and start to work with somebody else or retrain, I'm like, I can't be bothered. I'm like, okay, there was a blip. Not a softie by any means, but I definitely have, I look at it slightly different.
Yeah, of course,
like, everybody, you know, fucks up.
Yeah,
at some point.
100. Listen,
and it's like, what is the point? And like, because he ended up, you know, losing you as an assistant. I'm sure you're really great, and then you end up doing the work a year later, you know. So But the thing that I have a different way of looking at it right now. I don't think people should go out and, you know, go. I don't encourage, you know, taking the piss. This industry, I find, isn't for everybody. And if you do sort of get into the swing of things and you love what you do and you're passionate about it and you like being creative, then you're going to just be plain sailing. But if it feels like a chore, reevaluate.
Yeah. But I think people are coming into it so young now. They're coming into their 20s. I was in my 20s. I was fucking whatever. You know, I was working for Irish Ferries, but I was fucking getting stoned after work and doing whatever the fuck. I drinking. I mean, just not. I think my brain only started developing after I went to college and after I'd been through a bit of experience. I kind of went, oh shit, I better fucking. It takes a while to figure out. Like, do you think this is it for you now? Do you think your photography is this it? I don't know, really. How can I say like to that when I've gone from doing this, that to the other? Like, you know, I don't know. Like, you know, I'm happy doing it now. Like I am really happy in the position I am in. But you just don't fucking know. You don't know what's going to happen. I think mine will definitely stay in this field. Like, I'll definitely. 100%. I'll be in this field. You know, that's what I've got. Like even with Bankhouse Media, it's broadened the spectrum a bit, and it's given me the opportunity to work comfortably in. Even with you in photography, the last job that I have to admit, I was guilty of like having 24 hours to shoot and giving you 15 minutes. You know, what was that for again? Remember the E-Stars one down in Ardmore? So you but that's you done that on the lunch break, and the lighting guy was I actually spoke about that to Air as well. I was like, I've been on one of these shoots before, and it's you're just in and you're in and you're out. But the photographs were brilliant. But like that's where your experience comes in because you don't complain. No, you get the job done, and it's also like you have to work fast because I genuinely have this guy for fucking 20 minutes. Do you know what I mean? Exactly. But we that again, billboards, buses, that went everywhere again. You know, so it's like we ended up. You know, and GAA thing then. The GAA one was great as well. We were all under pressure, and that we were in like. I think you only got me to that a couple of days before. Like 2 days before, I was like, Evan, is there any chance you can come and do this the weekend? And that was great because we were on as a production house, but we didn't. That was my first sort of taste into like becoming like a full agency where I'm like, right, okay. So from the start, I'm like, I want to look after the photography. I want to look after everything because then you know that it's being done. Someone's not coming to you 2 days before and saying, can you get a photographer? But people also invest in a good thing about you got all these clients as well at the start because people are investing in you as well because you're so good at it. I hadn't even got a show people love you after. That's what I'm saying because you're just a fucking king bullshitter spoofer like we all are at the start. Like I said, went to Dunn's like I can do that definitely. Like fucking I hope I can do it. Like you know you kind of like you find out how to do it. Yeah, exactly. And my advice to anybody starting out right now is like just say yes, you know, and then it's like work it out. You know, somebody will know. And the other thing as well is like what you had sort of touched on, which we didn't bring up, is like asking for help. Like whenever you went to that girl, you were like, I can't do my assignments. Help me. I think people now are afraid to sort of put their hand up and say, look, can you help me? I help. But there's a few young lads now who come into me and they ask me, can you do stuff? And I just fucking set the thing up for them. Just like there, shoot the thing yourself. You know what I mean? Like I will help people, and because everything can be quite. It's not that technical either. You know, things can be done simply. Like people say, he could
emails from. I love whenever you get an email from somebody. Like I got a series of emails about transition year. I wasn't able.
Yeah.
I just was too busy, and I was just.
I had the
it's too much
transition year shooting it
responsibility.
down. I had them painting the door and all. You know what I mean? Like,
But I, for me, it was like I don't know where we're going to be. You know,
Yeah.
it
Yeah,
was a bit.
it's-
They were a bit
yeah.
too young, a bit too much
Yeah,
responsibility
yeah.
for where I was at
Yeah.
that time frame because I was just
of
like,
course,
look,
yeah.
I'm fully responsible for a kid. You know,
Yeah,
I was
no,
like,
the only reason I took
you
him
know?
on now was because it's
'Cause you're based in
somebody I know's kid as well, so
Yeah.
they knew like what the crack was. So
But it is good. So just to sort of wrap it up, like, look, what would be your like one piece of advice to anybody? Just or what would be the one thing that you sort of think stood out the most for you? Just to
do you know what I think it is? I think there's definitely an element of wanting to work. You know what I mean? You definitely need to put in the work. And like you said, I don't know, all my jobs start. I made no money for a couple of years. You know what I mean? So there's definitely just be reliable. You know, enjoy what you're doing. You know, be passionate about what you're doing, and you know, speak to people. Go out there, meet people as well. You know, it's definitely our job's definitely an element of being like sociable or kind of like just reliable and likable as well. I'm sure I'm not the soundest person to work with at all times, but you know what I mean? It's about getting the job done sometimes, and that's you know, that's what works, I think, for everybody, you know. So, and it's the same for yourself, you know, as well yourself. But you're gonna fuck up a few times on the way. You know what I mean? You're going to do certain jobs that you'll go, geez, that did not. Like I'm saying, I'm still doing it. I'm still doing certain jobs. Going,
well,
that could be better.
I think that,
You know what I
that
mean?
is like understanding that you're going to fuck up a few times on the way. I
Yeah.
think is a good sort of place
Definitely,
to be.
yeah.
And Evan, that was brilliant.
Matthew.
Thank you so much
Thanks
for
so
coming
much.
in, and it was great
No bother.
great chatting to you.
It's
So
deadly, actually. Yeah, I really enjoy that now.
brilliant.
Like,
Thanks.
I'm just going to send this to people now, and they ask me for advice. Just stay as a podcast.
You can just send them a link to this.
Have a listen to that. Thanks, Matthew.
Brilliant. Thanks.